considering cataract surgery and want to make the right choice for something as precious as your vision? At Wallace Eye Associates, we suggest you simply ask your local eye doctor. After all, more eye doctors across Cenla continue to recommend Wallace Eye Associates, and they have been for decades. When it's time for cataract surgery, there's only one team, one focus, your vision. Wallace Eye Associates.
And good evening once again, everyone. We're back with another edition of the Pelican Sports Report, making our way around Central Louisiana, and we're joined right now by Tioga head coach Kevin Cook. Coach, welcome.
How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful. Certainly appreciate you taking time out to join us tonight. How's the summer been?
We had a good summer. I felt like our attendance, from a football standpoint, we had a good summer. Our attendance was really well. I was very pleased with the kids. I went, of course, like everybody else, maxed out at the end of the summer, and I think we're all super excited about the numbers that we saw there and the growth. But it's time for summer to be over for us. This is our week off, and I hope the kids are enjoying themselves. I told them, look, go swim as much as you can, go tubing, go have a great time. And because work's going to start on Monday, and it's going to be nonstop.
Look, that's one of those things that it gets on you quick once it starts. I mean, and summertime's full of 7-on-7s and a lot of different workouts. But come Monday, it's back to business.
Especially for us, we elected to not have spring football, and so we're not taking the full advantage of all the extra days they give you for not having spring football, but we're going to take advantage of some of them. It's a long period of time. It doesn't seem like it makes a big difference, but every football season I've ever been involved in, by the time the scrimmage comes, it's like that week of practice leading up to the scrimmage. It's either called football practice or fist fighting, because everybody is just so ready to, have physical contact with someone other than yourself. And so, I don't want to add a whole lot of extra practices in on top of that and maybe induce more of that anger, but for us, we'll get started on Monday, and, we're legal to go full blast. So.
Well, that's good. In the season normally, or in the past when I've seen some, and I know the start of the year moves around a lot. I've seen years where you get into school and it's Jamboree week right away. This seems like you've got about 3 weeks from the start of the school year to those scrimmages and Jamborees. Is that close?
That's close, and it really is because of school, because football always works the same way as the school system that changes the school system. And I like a lot of when we've been in school a few weeks before we have a football. I think it's better for the school thing for the football. Like in this case, the Jamboree would be a lot better because you've been there a little while and you've kind of sunk yourself into your regular routine, and everybody's promoting, and so I just like it when we've been in school for a little while before we actually do something in football.
You guys changed that Jamboree up a little bit. Speaking of the Jamboree, that's a 2-day event. You've got a lot of stuff going on. Tell us about the makeup of your Jamboree this year.
We are excited. Menard is coming over. The Jamboree, Winfield's coming over. We haven't had them over before. There's two really good football communities. I had the pleasure of being at Menard in 2010 as defensive coordinator, and I never, ever saw a seat in the bleachers during my entire time there. And, Winfield's just a good little football town. So, we expect both of those schools to bring good football and a good fan base over to the reservation.
Well, we're excited about seeing.
Along with, I should have said this too. Leesville and Range.
breaking up on us just a little bit. I don't know if it's. I'm not sure, so we'll try to do our best with it. We may end up having to get another time coach with you, but we're going to try to make it through as best we can. We passed through the Jamboree. If you can still hear me on there too, the 23 seniors that you guys lost, it's a big number. But those quality guys you lost, you lose the likes of a Ja'Cory Norris, who's going to be playing on Saturdays, and Max Cadermus, that's playing on Saturdays. Tell me about the departure of those guys and how you start 24.
It's really the same every year. I was actually, Hayden Christman came by during practice the other day. They're all from Louisiana Tech, and he and I were visiting. And actually, Coach Brock had brought his team over from Lakeview. We were doing some 7-on-7. We were all just kind of reminiscing, but they got to remember too, like I was there from 15. And so we just started talking about if you could build an all-star team from your time at Tioga, what would it look like? And it would honestly be outstanding, because the thing is, every year you have some outstanding players that are a little bit more exceptional. You mentioned a couple of them a minute ago, and Ja'Cory Norris and Max, who they'll be playing on Saturday. And we've been very fortunate in my time there to have some every year. But this year won't be any different than the other 9 years before it. You say goodbye to those guys, and we're hoping nothing but for the best for them. But somebody else now has to step up and rise to that occasion. And that's part of our job as coaches, to identify those guys and coach them up and get them prepared to play at a high level. And we've been blessed to be able to find those guys, and the Lord's brought those kids in and been able to reload pretty much every year I've been there.
Indeed, it seems you have one position you don't have to replace this year is at quarterback in Case Malone, who is, and somebody was asking me about Case, and I kind of described him as that Joe Flacco style of quarterback. Back with the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl, he's going to go out there and he's going to get what needs to be gotten on there, and it'd be hard to find a more hard-nosed competitor than what you've got pulling the trigger for you this year.
Our kids and our coaches really believe in Case, and I think that's the key ingredient at quarterback. Obviously everybody wants to be 6'7" and have a rocket arm and all the things, and still run a 4.5 at 215, 225 pounds. I'd like to be that way too, because I'd be a lot richer
Right.
than I am right now. But the reality is, Case is a really good football player, and he's a really good leader. And not only does our staff have confidence in him to run the offense and do what needs to be done, but I believe his teammates have a lot of faith in him, and they know that he's going to give 100%, and he's going to put everything out there on the table for the Indians to win and to lead the offense into, scoring drives. And so having him back, I'm glad he's just a junior, so we can get him back again after this.
That's right. And that's just getting a little bit better and a little bit better every season. One thing that gets better, that changes a little bit, is your district outlook. Neville, who has been a solid ball club for years, moves on, and you pick up Wasman and West Washita in their place, changes the dynamics of it, and it's a wide open district. Give me your thoughts on your district play this year.
I'm really glad to have a full 16 district, to be honest with you. Number one, it's very hard to fill that non-district ball game, because you somebody that you got no business being with, or somebody that has no business being with you, and that's kind of what's happened to us. But we lose Neville, which is a great place to go play high school football. It's they're always going to make you do your very best and bring you to the highest level of competition you could be at. But, they've gone on to bigger things there. But you bring in Wasman, who, to be quite frank, we don't know. I don't know if our two schools have ever played against each other in anything. But I know that they are very talented. I think that somebody told me at one time they got 9 Division I prospects on their ball team. I don't know if that's true or untrue. We haven't got deep enough in the water to check that out. But I do know with West Washita coming in, that they're loaded with seniors this year. This was going to be supposed to be their best year yet, and the history of Tioga and West Washita in their last 8 meetings is 4-4. So they're two
Wow.
schools that are pretty similar, and they just happen to have a lot of seniors this year. And but we're two schools that are similar, so I feel like through the years it's going to be a really good ball game, year in and year out, that either team could win.
Well, that you're looking forward to that. I can tell you that Tauga went up to Wasman back in the late '80s. I can tell you
Okay,
that because made that trip as a
he was there.
fan to go and watch that back when I was in high school out at the reservation. So Tauga grad
Okay.
here in the late '80s, which does age me just a little bit, but got the Tauga red out for this show, and so but Tauga did travel to Wasman. I do remember that back in the late '80s for a playoff game.
Well, good. Well, and look, that's what we need. We need, our alumni to, to help us with some of those things. I actually was working on some Tioga history at some point this year on the coaching realm, the head coaching cycle that's been there, and there's some debate and some questions out there. So I love hearing about the past. Uh, I love retro. I love antiques. I love history, and so it's good to know that we have played each other at least once.
That's it. At least that's right. Speaking of those prior coaches that were on there, you took the name off the press box and down onto that new turf that's on there of Toomey Ingram Field,
Yeah.
and that just as an alumni, as someone that was around in that Ingram time, that's special.
Well, I thought that it really brought a lot more attention to those gentlemen, and and brought them really down there to where everybody's looking, onto the actual surface of the turf. And so um, I'm really proud of the way that turned out. I think it pops a lot better even than what the drawings rendered it as being.
Right.
Matter of fact, we have had some discussions about what we're going to do with the press box now. I don't know if there'll be any immediate changes to that, but I think there may be, a different design that'll go on there. Right now, we're working on the jumbotron coming in here late this week or early next week, and trying to get that set up, and so that's the next phase, and we'll finish some of the other details out later. But look, Coach Toomey and Coach Ingram, obviously a deep part of the history there, at the reservation, and what a great legacies they left as people and coaches.
Well, I'll tell you this from and still good friends with Coach Ingram's sons and his daughter, and actually live next door to his second daughter. So she lives next
So,
door to us. But when we did graduation, we live streamed graduation for us this year. And the folks would walk, they were walking across that. I got a text from Jeff as I sent him a picture of it too. And it was just special for them to see that. So
yeah.
know that that had history with the families, especially for that Ingram family, is well seen.
Well, it does make me feel good. Look, when you're the guy that's having to try to design all of this, and really kind of lay it out, you really, it's a nerve wracking thing, because I've never painted a $750,000 canvas, to be honest with you. So
That's right.
I wanted to. It's good to have some feedback that people are appreciating, what we did there, and that they like it, because I want the community to be happy with everything that we do. And it is tough. It's harder, as everybody knows, no matter what size crowd you have or congregation you preach to or whatever. There's going to be some that may not necessarily like everything that you do, but you really want as many people as possible to be super happy with the product that you're putting out. And the community there has been great to me, great to football, um, with all the things that they voted and allowed us to do, and so I want the community to be very happy with what we're doing.
Well, they respond well. You come out on a Friday night, and the crowd is there. These away games, the crowd is on the road with them. They're loud. We can hear that over the games as well. We can hear the crowd noise on it. So, what does the defense look like this year? I know replacing some key components in there, but your defensive coordinator, Coach Mutter, has always been able to work something out. How's that looking this year?
Well, Coach Mutter does an outstanding job, and I feel like, what we have right now, we have a very good box, what I would term as the box people coming back. The people that are coming back are solid. The people that are now going to get an opportunity, I feel like are going to be very good. And now, like we talked about, it's very difficult to replace a Ja'Cory Norris and a scholarship corner in Max. So
Right.
those are big shoes to fill. But we're excited about what we have learned over the summer. Um, but there's always questions until the pads come on. Like,
Right.
7-on-7 is one thing. I think it has a great purpose for football. I think I've always said this. I'm the exact opposite. I think it's great for defense, terrible for offense. But we've tried to answer some of those secondary questions from a pass standpoint, but now we've got to add the run game in here starting on Monday. And how are those safeties and corners going to react to the run? Who's willing to run downhill and smash somebody and help us clean up whatever wasn't able to get taken care of the first two levels of defense? So Coach Mutter and our DB coach and our defensive line coach, those guys are going to do a great job of giving the best product that we can put out there. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for. And is we ask our kids to give our best, we're going to give our best. And I know that John's going to do that. And the kids are going to respond to him. He's a great motivator. He's very passionate. He's a man's man, and they respond well to that. And so I'm excited about watching defense, but I'm also excited about I'm hoping to spend a little more time on defense this season than I have in the past 6 or 7 years. And so I'm excited to kind of try to be over there a little more often with them this year.
Well, look, that's going to be exciting to see because I think you nailed it right. A passionate motivator is definitely what he is. I don't think you ever look out there and see Coach Mutter when he's down or being an introvert, without a doubt.
There's no question about that. And I our defensive guys, were probably laughing at me a little bit this summer. I got a chance to Coach Mutter was on vacation to help out a little bit more and than I have in a long time. And from a real calling of schemes thing. And I kind of fell back into the old Coach Cook, who I've tried to get rid of, but the old Coach Cook from a decade or so came out for an afternoon or two. But uh, I'm excited to be back over there. I'm excited about learning from Coach Mutter because every time I've ever been around him, I learned something. And
Right.
so we were blessed to be able to hire a couple guys on offense this year. And of course, Coach Landry always does an outstanding job, anyways.
Yes.
And when I was able to add two people to his side, all of a sudden it was lopsided. So I got my teeth cut on defense as a coach. So I made the decision to move myself. So
Well, there you go. It should be interesting to watch out. I'll ask you just a couple of more questions, and we'll let you get out of here. Special teams, of course. We've talked a lot about Jacorian. He was subject anytime that touched the football to take it to the house. To quote our friend Billy, 100-yard return. Anyway, what do you do to replace the athleticism in the return game?
well, I don't know if you can. Jacorian signed a Division I scholarship.
Right.
And so our history, we don't have 10 or 12 or 15 Division I athletes every year. So I'd love to, though. If that's an option, I'll take it. Like, if we
You'll
can
take
vote
it,
on that,
right?
that's what I vote for. So but it's going to be hard to replace him on special teams because realistically, he's probably the best returner that I've ever coached in 21 years, and just really found a knack for it, and had the attributes of speed and vision to go along with just a natural instinct. So I don't know if we have that guy, who's going to return several kickoffs and punts for a touchdown. Now, we have some guys that I think are very, very talented and I trust, because the main thing for me as a coach as it relates to that is, returning for touchdowns is what the crowd wants to see, and it's great for the scoreboard in your favor. But as the head coach, I'm worried about them catching the ball and
Right.
taking care of the football. And that's my main ingredient is trust. Who do we have faith in back there? to take care of us and give us the possession of the football and maintain the possession of the football. Whatever happens after that, great returns or touchdowns, that's just lagniappe in my mind. I want the ball. I want my team to have the ball back. So.
Well, Coach, so, and you alluded to it a little bit earlier. Isn't that high school football at its best? Somebody's going to step up. Somebody's always going to be that next man up. And you guys have done a great job of that year in and year out.
Well, and that is true. Like, we've been very blessed in that regard of a guy just popping. And I say this to our staff every year. Like, we talk about it, like, who's going to be the guy? Who are going to be the guys? Because you want that to be a plural, not a singular. Who are
Right.
going to be the guys that really just shock you? Like, I didn't even see this guy coming, and all of a sudden, like, he's a real football player. And yeah, look, let's be honest. As good as Jacorian was as a junior, he probably dropped it. He dropped at least 10 interceptions. But his senior year, he caught every one of them and housed a bunch of them. So,
Right.
it's just that 1 year difference of a millisecond of breaking on the football. And sometimes that's what that guy needs who really didn't get to start last year because Jacorian was there. Well, now he's that millisecond quicker. And it's just a matter of who's that surprise guy. And, we've got some spots that we need some guys to really step up into. You've mentioned it, returner, and some offensive and defensive spots too. But the good news is, for most people, they also graduated athletes.
Right.
It would be a very unfair fight if we had to graduate athletes and our opponents didn't.
And nobody
So,
else did. That's right.
no, that'd be terrible. So, but luckily that's the way that goes, and so that's the part that I always find, maybe not in my earlier years of coaching, but now that I've gotten a little older, it's always fun to me to see who are those kids who really it clicks, because it's just funny to watch it. It is literally like somebody flicks a light switch and they're like, oh, this is the way you do this. And then they're really good at it. And it's just a ton of fun to watch that light switch come on.
Is that moment where you sit back, Coach, and go, oh, yeah, that's why we're doing it?
Yeah, of course it is. Like, from the athletic side of football, that's definitely, you're like, this is why I spent all my summer doing this endo and running these drills and my preseason and fall camps doing all of this stuff. Like, it's because of that right there. Like, that guy just got it. Like, it just came to him that he has the ability, and this is the way you do it. This is the way that it feels when it's right. And they catch that feel, and they never let go of it, and they perform at the highest level that their genetic out can take them, and that's a ton of fun as a coach.
Well, Coach, it is, and it's fun watching the progression of these guys. And look, want to thank you for taking the time with us. Might have taken a little bit more time. Chuck's put the graphic up there that shows. We'll run through the schedule real quick too. You've got a couple of big ones right off the bat in Sterlington and Leesville. Gina, no slouch. Pineville's going to bring it this year. Take me through your schedule real briefly.
Well, I mean, you said it right there. You got a semifinal team with Sterlington. Then you go to Leesville with the Ford kid toting the rock, who's a very special football player, probably the most special running back. Them and the kid from Ash, in our entire area.
Right.
You got Pineville with a ton of seniors this year, fully loaded and looking to really change the trajectory of where they've been. I think you follow up with Rich Wood, who's new to me. I that they called us, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know much about them, but we agreed to it. Going to be super athletic. You're still getting on the bus and going north, and that
That's
still
right.
means something. And then, of course, you finish with another semifinal team in Gina, who we haven't beaten in a few years consecutively. And then, of course, we talked about our district already with the people we didn't talk about being, Coach Coleman over at Peabody. I watched him a little earlier on your show. What an outstanding job he's done at Peabody. I mean,
He
just
is.
phenomenal. And I really like him just as a person and as a football coach. Like, maybe one day if the stars lined up, we work together. Who knows? But great job he's doing. Grant, they've graduated some kids, but I know they got a new offensive coordinator over there. Guy from our area, I think from Pineville, and by way of where did he come from? Bro Bridge, I think. So
Yes.
they're going to be very excited about what's going on there, and probably have made some strides to make some great improvements. And So yeah, our district it's a really good district. I think it is wide open. We have some teams like West Washita that are going to have a lot of seniors and bringing in, a different mentality coming out of that 5A district. There'll be a load to handle, but it's going to be a lot of fun as it's supposed to be.
Indeed, it is, Coach, and we thank you and appreciate us being able to be along for the ride with you. We thank you for taking time, letting us into that Tioga program, and taking your time tonight. So, for all of us here in the Pelican Sports Report, Coach, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
It's good to see you guys, and even better to see you in that red and white from the closet. I like it.
there you have it. All right, Coach, we'll see you.
Thank you.